Good afternoon, everyone. So let's check our homework and then we will look at CSV files and how to work with CSV files. And in the end, I will show you how to work with two list methods. These are map and filters. So these two methods are really important in order to work with JSON, with dictionary, with lists, and so on and so on. So let's start with homework. It was that one. So write a Python script that reads data.json representing employee information. Implement a function that calculates and returns the average salary of employees. Create a new JSON entry for a new employee with your own information. And add new employee to existing JSON data. Save modified JSON to a new file. So let's start with opening JSON file. So with open, I have it right next to my homework file, so I'll do it like that. Read encoding equals to UTF-8 as file, so like that. So what we need to do, we need to open and read it. So let's do it in data variable, and I will also import JSON. So it's json.load. We use load for file and load as for string, and we'll pass file here. So first of all, let's print data. Yeah, so now after we read it, we have this dictionary here. And if you mention this dictionary does have only one key, employees, and value of this key is a list of dictionaries. So in order to get salary or any information from here, we need to use for cycle for that list. So, yep.
I have a question. The question about the length and number of elements in the
List.
In this list, yes.
Yep.
How I should do it with len data.
So you want length of data, or you want length of the list?
When I was doing the employee count, like how many people we have, I just wrote a new. I just wrote like in for cycle. I wrote this and I counted each employee.
All right.
Yes, but how I can do it without for?
You still need to do for to count all salaries and find average. So you will have to use for anyways, but you can actually get it using length. So you do len data and you need to pass employees key to extract this list.
And I will know
so employees and close the len method. So if we do it like that, we should get 10. Just because data employees returns a list, and list does have a length property, so we can extract it using len method. Implement a function that calculates and returns the average salary of employees. So let's do it. I will do average salary function. So it was actually up to you, just because data is in global scope, you don't actually have to make an argument here. So you don't have to put something like salary data or something like that. So you can just take data like it is because it's in a global scope. So average salary, what we need to do, we need to run a for cycle on that list. Employees, yeah. So we will run a for cycle, and each cycle we will extract one dictionary with all these key value pairs, and from that dictionary we only need a salary key, actually salary value. So what I'm offering to do, you could actually do something like total salaries equals to 0, because you need to count. And we can actually do a for cycle. So let's say for person in, and we can't use data. And we can't use data. I will show why.
We should use data
Employees. Yeah. But I will show why, because some of run the function, of course, average salary. So yes, if we take data, data is a dictionary with one key value pair. The key is employees, value is a list. So if we use for cycle on dictionaries like that, only keys will be iterated. So if you want to iterate this list inside, so basically that list, you need to index employees first. So we can do data employees like so. And then each person will become this dictionary from our employees list. So when we have this dictionary here, we can extract salary. So I can do that by indexing person and using a salary key. So if I did it like that, the salary comes. So what I need to do, I don't need to print these salaries. I need to count how many salaries. How, actually, we need to count what is total salary amount, and then we need to divide by the number of employees to find average. So what I will do, I will use total salaries plus equal person salary. So by doing, yeah,
before, we didn't have to create this variable before.
we do it. The reason for that we can't use plus equal for a variable that doesn't exist.
Okay, we have all. Okay, sorry.
Yep. So we need to declare a variable here, and then we need to add it. If we would have equal sign here, then we don't have to do that. But in case we don't do that, let's say I'll delete it. You will still have one warning. I'm not sure if I can see it here now. Local variable is not used. Okay, sometimes, I'm not sure why it did show now, but sometimes PyCharm still tells that total salaries might not be declared or something like that. So it is better to declare it here, so you will be 100% sure that you have. For example, if this dictionary would have been empty, we would still have a total salaries equal to 0. And if we wouldn't have this variable declaration, total salaries wouldn't exist because data employees would be zero. So there won't be for cycle and there won't be total salaries variable. So it's better that you declare it in advance. Right. So for now, we have these total salaries plus equal. Let's print total salaries. And what I do recommend you that when you create some program, write your code, please do these prints from time to time, just to check what you received. Is the answer you're getting is what you expected or not? So it's a normal thing that you do these prints and then delete those. You just need to check yourselves if it's happening. So if we look now, we have this total salaries equal to 17,600. That represents a total number of salaries for all employees. And in order to get average, we can divide by total number of employees. And we can get that by just getting len of data employees. So you can do it like that. So 1,760. Right. I can show you another way of making a solution for that. You could use a list. So you could do a total salaries as an empty list. And instead of doing so, you could say that you append. So append these salaries to a list. So in order to get total salaries like that, you could use sum then. Sum is a method for a list that sums all of the values inside the list. So if you used lists like that, it's not a mistake. It's another way of counting it.
Why did you use like function here? Because you won't use it again with this function.
Just I wanted to see how you understand how to create functions.
Is it function in the
Yes, implement a function that calculates and returns the average salary of employees. Actually, function needs to return it, so we will use return statement here. And why are we using a function? Just because in case we will add some people, for example. No, I wanted to see how you understand functions, so that was main reason. But actually, yes, so if you have a function like that, it can count total salaries for any amount of workers. So for example, if I will create another one here, let's copy that one. So I will create an extra employee inside this JSON and run the same function. I only need to print this result. Print. So if I run that, it will count for an extra employee as well. So it's not. I will delete this extra employee. So any question on that part? I will do a return here also. Return. So let's look at the next task. So next part is create a new JSON entry for a new employee with your own information. So yep, let's do one. I will copy this template from our JSON. So I will say that new person is equal to that, or actually I will use triple quotes. So the task was create a new JSON entry. So we're not creating a new dictionary actually, but we are creating a JSON string. A new JSON entry. So I'll change something here. I will do my name, for example, teacher, mail, 16 of March 1988, and I'll put some random number here. So we do have something. Let's say salary 1.5. So we have this JSON string here, and we need to add it to our existing JSON. So how can we do this? We can convert this new person to a dictionary first, because it's a JSON string. So I will say that new person dict is equal to JSON loads new person. Mm-hmm. So doing so, I will create a dictionary from that, and I can actually add this dictionary to our employees list. So I can do data employees dot append new person dict. So even if I will print data employees like so, check. The very last one was added. Why is it working? Because data employees is a list, and that means that we can use list methods to that equation. So we use append to append a new dictionary inside. By that we can add some extra data. So now length of data employees is 11 because we appended another entry there. Add new employee entry to existing JSON data. This is already done. So save modified JSON data to a new file. So let's do it as well. So we will do a with open, let's say new data.json. We will use the write method, and encoding will be UTF-8 as file. And all we have to do is json.dump. First is an object. By object they mean a dictionary that will be a JSON data. So we will use data. We already modified it here by using append, and we will provide file as a file to save. So let's check new data JSON. All right, let's do an indent as well. Indent 2, so we can read normally. So if I check that one, I have this last entry here. And if we check average salary, you can see that after we added something in there, average salary was changed also, because I print average salary in the end. Right? Actually, for JSON, maybe you need it somehow. You can actually use sort keys method parameter as well. So if you use sort keys, you can say sort keys true, and when you do so, you will have all of your keys sorted in alphabetical order. So I have this gender, info, date of birth, phone, name, role, salary. So all of the keys inside are in alphabetical order. Any questions? Yep. Line 27, type error, unsupported operand type. Up here, total salary. So you're not summing. Total salaries is a list. Okay. So you're trying to divide the list with an integer. That's where you get a mistake. So you need an integer here divided by integer. So you are summing not all of that. You are summing total salaries only. So what do I need to put here? You need to put a bracket here and delete one from the back because you have all of the equation inside sum. I will show here. So what I have here, I will comment that out and uncomment that. So sum is a method that works with list. What it does, it takes each element of the list and sums all of them. So what you have this bracket over here. Mm-hmm. So you get a mistake. I can run it. I will get the same mistake. Type error. So what's happening? You're trying to divide a list with an integer. Now you always check that. So where the problem is? So sum needs to be used for total salaries. Mm-hmm. You get a number as a result, and then you divide this number by length of the employees list.
But I'm not
Let's see.
No, my solution was different.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
So total salaries. Yeah, but where you run this function? Yes, but it returns. This function doesn't print. This function has a return statement. So if you want to see the result, you need to print this function call. So like so. Yeah, so I have print and then I call the function inside. Just because this function has a return statement and doesn't have a print statement, so this function takes value of this return, but in order to see it, you need to print this function call.
And the question, why did you, like, you have created new person?
Yep.
It's okay, I did the same. Why did you load it, this new person?
Like that.
Yes.
So what's JSON? JSON is a string. I use these triple quotes because JSON is a string.
What I did?
You did a dictionary, am I right?
No.
Yeah. Can you show me the result?
Yes, of course.
This new JSON. Check code as well. So, you have a dictionary here. It's not a JSON. So you don't have these triple quotes here. So it's a dictionary type. If you print type new JSON, let's do it here. If I print type new person, I will get a string because I use these triple quotes because JSON is a string and we need to convert the string to dictionary in order to add it inside a list. And what you did it like that. So you didn't actually pass it as a string and your all right, this causes a mistake. It's not nothing. But you can see it here. If you do type check, you will get a dictionary. So the task was to create a new JSON entry. That's why I'm loading it with load-s. Hmm? Sorry? No, if you remember our lesson on files, write methods, read methods, write, append, and create file automatically. The only difference with create was that if file already exists, you will get a mistake. Rest are working fine. So, any more questions?
No, just don't remove it. So my solution was wrong because
These
it's
are
not even JSON. Like we have
dictionary. And well, I'm not saying it's wrong. It works too. So you added something. But for example, if you were on a job interview and you had a task like that, create a new JSON entry. So they more likely would expect a JSON string instead of a dictionary. But it's more like for job interviews, so they like to be picky about what they expect from you, because if you're at work, it doesn't actually matter. So you can choose between dictionary or JSON on yourself. But if, for example, we have this create new JSON entry, but maybe at work you would have a front end that returns a JSON string, so then you need to convert it as well. So it depends on the situation. Right, so let's see. We will be doing a CSV today. And actually, paste CSV module. And what I will ask you to do, I will update Git right now. So I'll say CSV commit and push. Mhm. So I did update the CSV file. Actually, hold on, delete. Okay, I will update it again. Mhm.
Should download it.
No, you only need a couple of CSV files now. So what I ask you to do, there is a CSV file folders inside, and what I want you to do is to get 2019 CSV and a test CSV for now. Just copy it inside your folder. So we will be using two separate CSV files. So is it done? Create tester.py file, and we can speak about CSV today. So what's CSV? So to start with, CSV can be translated as comma separated values. And CSV is nothing but a table. So if we speak about different types of storing data, we have this JSON that looks like a tree with branches and has these all different levels inside. And also we have the CSV format. So when we speak about tables, most people think about Microsoft Excel. But Excel is not that easy type of a file because you need a separate library to read from Excel, and you also might need to understand how this library works. If we speak about data nowadays, for the same reason I explained we should use JSON to pass data to other devices. For the same reason, CSV is used, but CSV is used for uh, table types of data. So if you go to your bank account, for example, there is almost 100% chance you can get your bank statement as a CSV file. And also, if you look at some different, let's say, I'll do it like that. So we have this Estonian business register, and they, for example, provide the lists of the different Estonian party members. So if you look here, you can also get a CSV here from that web page. So the thing is that CSV is a very lightweight table data storage type. And it is light because it's just a text file actually. So it does have its own extension CSV, but if we open it, if you will open any of those CSV files I asked you to download, for example, this 2019 CSV, if you want it to look like that, you need to install plugin, and I can show you how to do so. So you can go to your settings, file settings, or it's PyCharm settings, or preferences for Mac. And when you are here, you have this plugins tab, and you can download. All right, I'm using this rainbow CSV thing, I guess, or no, or this CSV. Sorry, let me check. Yeah, I'm using this CSV, just CSV model plugin. So if you go to plugins, you have these two tabs on top. Look, marketplace and installed. So you go to marketplace, write CSV, and download the CSV editor. Rainbow CSV used to be the one, but it became paid for some reason.
Why did you download this file?
Because if you download this plugin, you won't see CSV in different colors like that. From plugins, settings,
Download CSV and download the files.
from GitHub.
You should download csv.writer, right?
If you want to, but I would recommend it to you to do so, because then you will have this different color table columns in CSV files, so it's easier to read and understand what type of data you get here. And also you get this CSV editor too, so you can actually edit these files. So is everyone ready?
No, I didn't open the files yet.
Right. So if we open the CSV file, any of them, you can see that it's nothing but a text file with values separated by comma and have a new line for each. So if you look at this sample, you can see that it more or less looks like a table. So you have these column names here on top, and you have a data representing each column, and if you downloaded this plugin, it will be colored as well. So show me. Oh, that's all right. Maybe I still have a different plugin. I have this Rainbow CSV. It used to be free, now it's paid, but somehow it's still working for me. So if you use this CSV editor, it might look like a table, but it doesn't matter because we're not editing CSV here manually. So it's okay. It's just the way you see CSV files, because if you don't have any plugin, you will see it like. Give a sec, open an Explorer. So normally they open like with Excel or any Excel sort of program. And if I open it with a notepad, where it is, notepad just once. So basically, if you wouldn't download this plugin, you would see CSV like that. So just plain text with no editing. The reason for this, the only reason we download this plugin is to make it colored so we can see what data goes to which table. So if you look here, you can see that it's just a plain text. It doesn't have any formatting. It doesn't have any table around here. So it's just a text file. So that's good, because text files are let's say, the lightest files you can get. So providing data as text is quite easy. The second thing, you can provide it as a string. It's quite similar thing like with JSON. So you can actually send it as a string to some other device and then load it and create a CSV file of that. So In Python, I will show you pandas library that actually has a better way of working around CSVs because pandas works with tables. But for now, we will look at just basic CSV module that is included in Python. So first of all, I will open documentation. So it's Python CSV docs. And you can open documentation. From now on, pretty much every lesson will have its own library and you will have to look through documentation because there is always a lot of different stuff in here and it's not always possible to show you everything. Some libraries are very big, so you need to learn how to work with documentation. Second thing that it depends on what you will be doing. Maybe you won't need the CSV library at all. Maybe you will be using it on a daily basis when you go to work. So uh, what is expected of you is not learning all of these libraries, is not knowing them by heart. What is expected is knowing how to open documentation, find the right method, and understand how to use it. So let's look at this documentation a bit. So we do have these different methods here. For example, reader method in order to get to read the CSV file. We also have this writer method to write it. Register dialect, we won't be using it now. What else? We have these dict reader methods. I will show you the difference, and so on and so on. So there are quite many of different things comparing to JSON. So if you remember, JSON only had 4 methods. So we had this load dump, load s, dump s. So let's see. We can import this CSV model by saying import CSV. So it's quite similar like it was with JSON. What is also similar is that you need to open a file. So let's do this with open. And I will use this test CSV for now. So mine is in CSV files test CSV. I will open it for reading. And coding is needed because CSV is a text file. And actually, you can leave encoding empty without writing it, but on some computers there might be an error because of that. So I do advise you to type in encoding in here. And now we need to read the data, and we are not reading data with the regular read method, like basic Python method. What we will be doing, we will be using the CSV module. And in CSV module, CSV library, we do have 2 different ways of reading these files. First of them is reading file as a list. So you get your data from CSV file as a list. And the second way is reading as a dictionary. So you get a dictionary with values, but we will start with a list. So I'll say CSV list is equal. In order to read CSV file, we first of all need to use the CSV library and use a reader method. So csv.reader. If you look at these snippets on top, you can see that you need to pass there a CSV file. So let's do so. We have this file variable and let's print a CSV list. So what you get here is a CSV reader object. We never saw these things before. But what you need to understand that csv.reader object is nothing but an iterator. And don't misunderstand, because we have iterables. Spoke iterable object. So iterable, what is iterable? List, tuple,
Yeah,
set. In some ways, dictionary. It iterates keys, string as well. So what's iterable? It's an object that has many different values, and it also can be reused. So what I'm trying to say, that if I have, for example, d equal to 1, 2, 3, I can actually say for x in d print x, and I can also do for x in d print x squared, and I can continue as many times as I want, because iterables can be reused. So I'm taking this list, putting it inside for cycle, printing the values, then I take the same list, put it inside another for cycle, print squares, and so on and so on. So I can reuse this variable as many times as I want. But what we get here is not iterable. It's an iterator. So iterator. And iterator is similar to iterables, but it has one significant difference. So if we speak about iterable, each value of the iterable, so for example list, each value is stored inside this iterable, and it is accessible from the very beginning. If we speak about iterator, it only returns values when you ask them. So if I take, for example, comment this out, and we'll go to the next line and say for line in CSV list print line, like so, it will work exactly the same way as normal list would. So it acts like a normal list. And if I show you that, if I, for example, comment this out again and take use a list method with this CSV list, so I will convert this iterator into a list. You can see a list of lists, basically. So why we use iterators at some point, and why some libraries return iterators? Because iterator doesn't take that much memory. Iterator returns a value only when needed. So basically, if I'm using this for cycle here, each round this line will be extracted from an iterator. So it doesn't store everything in memory. It only loads this data when accessed. And that's the main reason, because if you have a large tables, for example, here, this will be your homework at some point, not now, you will be working with it in pandas. But if you look at this CSV table or CSV file, and I'll show you like that. So this file is around 100 megabytes or so. So it's a large file with a lot of data. It does have 150 or so questions and about 80,000 respondents. It's a Stack Overflow survey from 2019, if I remember correct. So what actually you have here is quite a lot of data to load into memory and store it inside some variable. So iterator is a good way of saving your memory. And you can actually create iterators from iterables also. So you can say, for example, have this x like that, and you can do print iter x. So what we have now, x is a list iterator, so it's not a list anymore. So, well, x will still stay the list because we didn't change original, but that will return us an iterator. So we can access, so it doesn't store everything inside the memory. There are a couple of things that you can do with iterators and you can't do with lists. So let's start with first thing. So if I use iterators inside for cycles, it do behave like normal lists. So what we have after reading the CSV file, we do have a list of lists. So basically we have list, and each element of this list is a smaller list. And as you can see, each of these small lists represent a line from CSV file. So if I open it here, I can actually do it like so. So I can open both of them at the same time. So you can see that first line has these column names, and my first list returns me these column names. So second line is already data, and as far as you can see, pretty much each line of data from the CSV file was sent to a separate list. So when you read the CSV file with reader method, you get this iterator thing, and it actually behaves mostly like a normal list. But there is a difference. First thing is if you work with that lines, for example, you want to say something like hello line 0. So you want to say hello to each of these people. So 0 is a 0 index of each line. Okay. So if I run it like that, first line will be hello name. So why is that? Because I do have these column names inside. So if I want to get rid of column names, I can use this next method. Next and say CSV list. So if I run it again, you can see that it disappeared. So, but what's next? Let's print it. So print next CSV list. So next extracts first line of code, but basically next line. So we didn't touch this CSV yet, so we just loaded it. And by using next, I extract a first element from this iterator. And after that, when I use this for cycle, this element doesn't exist. Why is that? Because we already took it. And what you need to understand about iterators, if you used iterator once, it disappears. So basically, what I tried to show you before, I did show you 4x in D, print that, 4x in D, print also that. So I could use my list as many times as I want. But if I try to do so one more time, so I will put a second for loop here and run it again and check the output, I can see that my second loop never worked. And for example, I will do hello, put asterisks here and won't put anything here, so you will be 100% sure it didn't work. So what we can see that our first for cycle did execute and our second for cycle didn't. And the reason for that is that CSV list was used to the end. That's the iterator thing. So first things about iterators, it returns data only when asked. So it basically calculates its data, its values, only when you try to reach these values. The second thing, iterator is it can end. So basically you start from the beginning of iterator, finish at the end of the iterator, and you can't reuse it again. So you use it once and it's deleted from memory. So that's the thing about iterators. If you still don't understand how it works, you can actually convert it to list and work with the lists. But it's a good thing to understand that iterators at some point is a better way of creating, let's say, storing data in list type objects.
But it's not restarting.
It's not restarting, so it finishes. You can read it once. It's pretty much similar to reading files. Remember? So when we were reading text files, we were reading till the end, and we couldn't use it second time. So the point for that is not to store all of this data inside the memory. But if you do a conversion to list. So if you say, I will comment this next thing and show you like that. So if you convert this iterator to list, nothing special, you just use the list method, it becomes a list, and then you can use it as many times as you want. Because iterator just became a list. So if you print it now, if you print this CSV list, you can see that now it's not an iterator object, it's just a normal list. So it's up to you. If you want to reuse it, you can convert it to list. If you want to use it once, I would recommend you not converting it. And the second thing, that this next method works with iterators only. So you can't use next with lists. And point of using next is that you can actually extract data next line of iterator by using next. So I used next 4 times here. I got 4 times these lists, and the rest of the times I use this for cycle to extract data. So this one doesn't work. I will delete it. So what I mean by that, that iterator can finish, and after I use this iterator 4 times, I only have 4 values inside to extract with this for cycle. And if, for example, I will do even more of this next print, let's say like that, so in the end I will get an error because I don't have anything to extract. So I can extract only once. Is that understandable? So you can use these iterators only once, and a good thing is that you can actually take this one line of column names using this next. Let's say columns equals next CSV list, and then the rest is a table data you get from there. So iterator can be used once compared to a list. All right. So what's next? The next thing is how CSV looks. So actually CSV is translated as a comma separated values. And as we can see, we have these, let's say, these lines, different colored lines representing columns. And we have these lines representing rows. So where they match, for example, here, that represents a cell of the table. So if we look at that and see these commas here, we might think that CSV file is always separated with commas. But at some points, it's not. Sometimes it can be separated with different symbols. Sometimes CSV files do have this semicolon at the end, and so on and so on. So in order to understand that, what I'm offering is that we will open another CSV file inside and try to read and write and see what we can change while reading and while writing. And for that, I will open another file right inside here. So I will do with open CSV files, name it test copy.csv. I will use a write method and encoding UTF-8 as, let's say, I will call it W file because my previous file is not closed yet. So I still need this file variable. Actually, I don't, but I will leave it. Encoding.
So we are creating.
Yep. So we're creating a copy and we will work with it. So in order to write CSV files, we need to create a csv.writer object and then use it to write file line by line. It's different from JSON because in JSON we had just one method to write everything. CSV works a little bit differently. So what we are doing, I will create a csv.writer variable and use a writer method from CSV library. So csv.writer. If you look at these snippets, you can see that it asks for CSV file. So let's provide it with one. W file, I called it. Yeah, and let's leave it like that for now. You can take the rest of the code and put it inside and comment this next thing for now. So instead of printing these lines, I want to write these lines to a new file. So I will comment this print statement out. And I will use this CSV writer to write. So basically CSV writer, if we use it now, CSV writer variable is actually an object. So it became a CSV writer object. It's because of the library. And when I take this one, it has two methods, write row and write rows. I will explain write rows later, but I will use a write row for now. And as a row, I will be passing these lines from csv.reader. So basically, these lists that represent a line of data. Remember, I printed them out. So I will use a line, the same line we printed. So I will use this line. Save, and I will run it. And let's also open it. So I will open it here. So if you look at the result, we see that it's different from the original. So basically, we didn't change anything here. What we did, we read the file and then write it to a new file. So we didn't actually do any changes. But if I look at the original, you don't have any line breaks between lines of data. And if you look at this file that we received, it does have spaces. At some computers, it might not. It depends. I'm not even sure on what it depends on, but sometimes it doesn't put these extra spaces. But for me, it's always like that. So you do have this extra blank line inside. Sorry? Yeah, but you can correct it and run again. Yeah, you didn't write CSV. So open your Python file and so do a .csv there. Here, file extension. So after I used this writer and writerow method, I did write each line of CSV file inside this test copy file. And what I see, I do see these blank lines. Comparing to original, it shouldn't be like that. So how can I actually do so? How can I actually do that these lines disappear? If we speak about writer method, and also it is about reader method too, we can open the documentation here. So let's do it. I will open the CSV reader, and we can you can actually read it through yourself, but you have these fmt params. Remember, we had these keyword arguments inside function with two asterisks. So it's basically the same thing. and what it accepts different dialects and formatting parameters. So let's open this link here and see what is offered. So basically, we are offered to use delimiter, double quotes, escape char, and so on and so on. So let's try working with delimiter first. So you don't see that here. So if I do it like that, you can only see CSV file, dialect, and format parameters as a keyword argument. So if I add a file here, W file, comma, it asks for dialects or FMT params. So FMT params in this library are used as keyword arguments. Remember these two asterisks, you put as many key value pairs and you get a dictionary inside your function. So this is how this reader or writer works. So we can add delimiter here, delimiter. And the reason you don't have any snippets for this delimiter parameter because it is accepted through quarks keyword arguments. So delimiter equals, I will add a line break here and run my code again. Interesting. Okay, it's not a delimiter, but what delimiter, let's leave comma for now. So delimiter is how we separate our data. So delimiter is about separating our cells. So if I use, for example, dash here and run it, you will see that my CSV file uses dashes inside instead of commas. Yeah, it doesn't show you colors because this plugin works with comma separated values only.
Well, you said that you have downloaded the rainbow one, right?
Yep. But there's no difference. You have the same thing, but it looks like a table if you have the CSV viewer or whatever it was. Double check why. So line 7. Delimiter is invalid keywords. We have mistaken the delimiter. Delimiter. MI. Delimiter. So you use I. So you can actually, while writing a file, you can change a delimiter. So you can, for example, put asterisks, and then all of your data will be separated with asterisks instead of comma. Let's use a dot. Let's use a dot and look at what we have here.
I have downloaded it.
Works here. Nice. So I used dot as a delimiter, and what I have here, I did have these dates that had dot inside them. And what you can see now, all of these dates are separated with double quotes as well. And the reason for that, that CSV must understand, when you have a dot as a separator, these dots inside might be accounted as separators too. And if we wouldn't have these double quotes here, so what CSV would think, it's just one entry, second entry, third, this 0, 3, fourth, and fifth, because we have dot as a separator. So for that, values that include separator inside them are put inside these double quotes. So you won't have mistakes reading. Let's go to the bottom of our file and open with open. Actually, we'll copy this line. And I'll say with open, I will open the same test CSV copy, but I will use a read method inside. I will name it file. and I will say that CSV data is CSV reader file, and for line in file, print line. So what am I doing here? We open this test.csv, read data from here, then we save to a new file, so test copy. I will be playing with these different parameters, and here I want to show you how to read file with these parameters. For example, if I run this code now, so if I run this code now, what I see is something like that. And if I convert it to list here and print this CSV data thing, you will see how many elements are there in this list, in these small lists. And this list as well. How many? No.
Dots are included, 5.
How many elements in this list? This is a list, Python list. You can see a quote here and a quote here. 1. It accepts everything as a single string. And reason for that is that we use a dot as a separator because CSV reader expects to have comma. And what happened here is while reading this file, CSV reader didn't find any commas inside, and he supposed that each line of text is a single thing, is a single cell, let's say. So CSV reader looked at this file and thought that it's a one column CSV file. And what it did, it actually extracted data as one value inside each column. So if we have this different format in our CSV file, we need to specify that while reading as well. So what we use delimiter equals to dot while reading. Do you understand what happened here?
No, why you put double?
Where? We can use single quotes.
Okay.
There is no stupid question.
Yeah, I can use triple quotes as well. So I can actually do like that. So it won't be a mistake too. So we are just saying that while reading, consider that delimiter is not a comma. Delimiter is a dot. And when we do so, our CSV reader can read our file correctly because it does have a dot inside. So if I change dot here for an asterisk, for example.
But it will understand the dots, the right dots, right? Yeah,
Of course, because we have these double quotes. So if I change this delimiter to a star or to an asterisk while writing and run that, I will have the same problem as before because now my delimiter is an asterisk. So while reading a file like that, I need to change it to asterisk here. So before you read CSV files, you're lucky because in almost all of the cases, CSV files nowadays have commas as separators. But there might be something going differently. So you might get a file because CSV file does allow you to change this separator. And actually, CSV file is nothing, it can be opened in Excel. So I will show you that. Okay. So will you open? Yep, so when you open a CSV file with Excel or any Excel-like program, it actually asks you to state some settings. So it actually asks you separated by, and then you can choose or put your own inside. So you can also check other formats and so on and so on. So what happens even Excel programs or Excel-like programs, while opening CSVs, want you to tell how to differentiate each cell of data. So you might not have this comma, you might have something else. So even when you open it in Excel, you need to state that, and if everything is correct, you will be able to see your CSV file as an Excel table. So basically, it is like that. So one more time, if you have some CSV files with non-standard delimiters, standard is a comma, you need to specify that while reading as well. Otherwise, you will have a mistake. I will leave comma there so we can continue. So I will leave comma. It still looks the same. Second problem we have here is these blank lines while writing. So this happens because we never mentioned such thing as line terminator. If you go to CSV documentation here and I look at dialects, you can see you have one like that, line terminator. So basically what happens here, it does have a default value, but it does use /r/n, and this causes this extra line of empty line here. So what I can do while writing my CSV file, I can say that I have a line terminator equal to a line break. And by doing so, I will get rid of these blank lines inside my new file.
But not this R, then just N.
Yep. R.n is a default value, and we saw that it doesn't work, so we change it to /n.
But why does blank line appear?
Say print hello /r/n world. Yeah, what happens is that it adds you like 2 times /n, something like that, and you get this blank line. It's because default value is like that, this /r, and it adds you, because we use this writer separately. So we do have this for cycle, do have this for cycle, and it writes row. So writerow inserts you a blank line, and then a line terminator inserts you a blank line. So by saying line terminator equals to blank, we don't add automatically here. So basically that adds you one line, and then the default value adds you one line as well. But when we specify that, this thing doesn't work.
No, the question is why is white row? We wrote it in the code ourselves, or
No, it's
writer
I'm telling you,
itself?
writer itself. Same thing like if I do print hello and I do print world like so and run it. Why do I have a line break here? Because print puts it automatically. Same thing here. We use csv.writer like so, and each csv.writer adds a blank line and then a default value of line terminator does. But when we specify line terminator, one of them stops adding. So if I, for example, have this hello /r/n like they say for default there, I will have a blank line between them too. So /r/n, I'll have an extra blank line because print puts its own and I add it as well. So that's the reason why. So if you write CSV files, don't forget to put this line terminator so you have a good looking CSV file in the end. And also, it's a good idea to leave a blank line at the end of the file. You might not know that now, but actually, if we speak about Linux-based systems, and Mac is Linux-based system, if we speak about working in terminal, working with script, with shell scripts, shell scripts never read the last line, because it is highly recommended that any file you do, you should have a blank line at the end, because some of the software doesn't read the last line. So it's Linux systems are built like that. I'm not sure if I have this installed here. Actually, I do. I might try to show you. Actually, I don't even remember how it works. Okay, it doesn't load. Okay, so yeah, when you use some Linux-based system and read a file, it will skip last line of the file. So actually, if we look at these warnings here in Python file, I will open it. You can see that no new line at the end of the file. So even PyCharm advises you to leave a blank line at the end of Python file. So you just do it like so. It is needed for Linux systems to be able to read the whole file, because Linux systems delete the last line. They skip it. Any questions so far? Let's have a break.